13th, the third day, January 13th. So I'm guessing there will be like 7 days in this game. The desire to change. When I woke up, I was in bed at the cabin. I'd fallen asleep at Sphere the night before. It was obvious that a personality exchange had occurred while I was sleeping and I had returned to this cabin. Perhaps the exchange had happened 3, 4, or even 7 times or more. What was certain was that the number of times it took place was odd. Since I was sleeping, the transfer phenomenon might have occurred dozens of times, as I simply wouldn't have noticed. There were still so many riddles surrounding this phenomenon. By the way, what time is it now? Looked at my wrist, my watch wasn't there. Satoru must have taken it off again. He's definitely doing it on purpose. As I groped about the wristband, the wristwatch tumbled into a corner of the bed. 9:20, that's 9:20 in the morning, of course. Hearing a sound, I raised my body and saw Yomogi standing before the entrance. He was carrying some fairly heavy equipment. Yomogi-san? What are you doing? Yomogi gave me a fleeting glance and opened the door. Out for a bit. He didn't explain any further. With that, he went out. The nearly dazzling light of the morning sun was shining in through the crack of a window. I held my breath. It cleared up? I hurriedly slipped out of bed and dashed outside. Ooh. Ooh. It was a magnificent scene. The deep blue sky felt so close you could reach out and touch it. The pure white snow sparkled in the sunlight. Oh, that's adorable. I like this. This is a good sight. I like snow. Like, it's awesome. A great number of peaks extended far away. To the left of the shelter cabin, to the east, the summit went on. The summit went on like a slightly elevated hill. Seeing such scenery made me think about how cruelly tiny my own existence was. The shape of Yomogi in the pure white snow fields stood out clearly. Wait, I'm coming too! I shouted to Yomogi's back, but he didn't even reply and instead continued marching on due south. A cold wind shook me up as I cut through the snow. Cold! My whole body trembled. I held myself tight with both arms. I returned to the cabin in a hurry when I became aware that I wasn't even wearing a coat. Where does Yomogi plan on going? He's by no means the kind of person who would run away by himself. Maybe he's going to call for help. Suddenly I remembered. Didn't Yomogi say that he would go to the crash site if the weather cleared up? Anyway, I have to chase him. I went down to the basement to search for the equipment to help me back through the snowy mountain. Although I said that, I have no idea how to put on any of the mountain climbing equipment. For the time being, I decided to take things which caught my eye. Put on a wool sweater as an extra layer and some gloves. Since there was an ice axe, I decided to take it too far for some reason. I also found some rope, but I was considerably heavy. With my strength, it looked impossible to walk while carrying it. This much should be fine for now. Next, the coat. The coat that I borrowed from Meizumi. Hey, what's going on? Meizumi had gotten up. Uni raised himself from the bed, rubbing his drowsy eyes. Where'd that old man go? You guys can't be thinking about running away by yourselves, right? She spouted in one breath. Without answering, I picked up the coat placed on the bed. Meizumi-san, I'm borrowing this coat. Are you listening? She grabbed my shoulder roughly. I explained the situation. Please calm down. I'm going to the crash site now. Eh? Yomogi-san said it before, right? That he would try to go if it ever cleared up? That there might be a radio or something. Is that so? It is. Meizumi let go of me. Are you going too? I nodded. Yomogi-san is alone. It might be dangerous. If we don't all cooperate... Meizumi snorted, sounding like kind of sarcastic. I'll definitely come back. Until then, look after Uni. What if you don't come back? I'll come back, absolutely. Meizumi sighed and returned to her bed. I'm expecting a souvenir, she said bluntly. I put on the coat that I borrowed from Meizumi. I can't say that my countermeasures against the cold are perfect now, but it can't be helped. The weather outside was clear, so I shouldn't freeze to death. Saying that to myself, I went outside. Yomogi's figure had already become as small as a grain of rice. Can I catch up? Hey! Wait! I shouted in a loud voice while furiously waving. Yomogi turned this way. Please wait! Hurriedly, I took my first step into the snowfield. Oop. My feet plunged into the snow. It's deeper than I thought. Frantically advanced, following the trail Yomogi had rustled, while also making sure the ice axe I had taken. Still, I became more sweaty before catching up with Yomogi, and yet the distance I had covered was just about 200 meters. It was so difficult walking through the snow. I wanted to take off the hot coat. I wanted to drop onto the snow and feel its coldness on my face. Yomogi was waiting silently. Somehow, I caught my breath. Ah! You're going right to the crash site? I'll go with you. However, Yomogi's face was calmer than ever. He shook his head a bit. Go back to the cabin. Eh? I said go back. Why did he say that? Because it's dangerous. But it's so clear today. Yomogi's look was immovable. A sharp scowl was directed at me. Mountain weather changes easily. It's common knowledge, you know, don't you? Besides, Yomogi paused and averted his eyes. No, it's nothing. But you'll just get in the way. Go back right now. Yomogi's tone was stern. And with that, he started walking. With a strong pace, he pushed his way through the snow. I hesitated over what to do. What Yomogi said was certainly correct. If a young girl like me who doesn't know about traversing snowy mountains were to follow him, she'd probably just be a hindrance. It would be too dangerous, but so was going alone. Anyhow, as I returned to the cabin, all I could think about were negative things. I'm not the greatest thinker. I've done nothing but think these past 2 days. It seemed that my carefree mind has gone a little funny. I feel at ease again if I'd move a little, at least a little. I run after him. That's right, staying put isn't like me at all, huh? Ayo, wait, what? Ayo. I pulled myself together and ran after Yomogi. Human and heart. So I'm guessing, depending on the choice, it would have, either she would have gone after him either way, or it would have made 2 different scenes. I was out of breath. The breath from my mouth turned white and dissipated in the cold air. Yomogi didn't say anything else about me following him. However, he didn't wait for me either. Being a professional mountaineer, he pushed through the snow with quick steps. Even though I was only following the path he formed through rustling, it took all my strength just to keep up. All of a sudden, I lost my footing and fell face first into the snow. So cold. When I raised my head, I saw Yomogi extending an arm to me. Thank you very much. I managed to stand up with Yomogi's help. Placing my hands on my knees for myself, I slowly regained my breath. Can I ask you something? Since it was never settled, I've been curious since yesterday. About the newspaper, what had happened? It was about yesterday afternoon. About the newspaper which had a report about the plane crash, printed with the data from the future. And then all of a sudden, Uni had said this. That newspaper is real. I transferred right after he said that, so I'd missed hearing what he said next. Oh, that, What did Uni say? Yomogi shrugged his shoulders. Well, he's a child after all. He probably just felt like playing a trick on you and said that as a joke. A joke? Is that what Uni said? No. Didn't you press him about it? Press him, you say? Yomogi looked as if he was having trouble saying it. There isn't any other explanation, right? There's no way it can be real. I see. Yomogi probably didn't want to believe those lies written in the newspaper either. That was why I didn't want to prolong the discussion of the subject. Yomogi left my side and began walking ahead more quickly. Unsatisfied with the answer, I followed behind him. Ooh. It was a disastrous sight. Holy crap. It was a disastrous sight that it made me want to cover my eyes. Unable to form any words, I collapsed where I stood. That's why I told you not to come. Yomogi muttered unpleasantly. However, I could no longer hear his words. I was beaten down by the cruel spectacle spread out in front of my eyes. The aeroplane had lost its original form and lay broken in pieces. Around the area were several black lumps half buried in the snow. Dead bodies. A number of carbonized corpses were lying around. Their arms had stretched out as if reaching for something. There were some that had lost all semblance of human form and twisted into strange shapes. There were those completely severed from the rest of the body at the chest or waist. There were those who were like marionettes, frozen stiff. It was but a mere illusion that the silvery landscape was beautiful. At the very least, there's nothing beautiful about the place I was in now. The carpet of white smothered the lamplight of life. The scene spread out before us was a world of death, and a world of nothingness. Only a heartless silence exists here. Maybe I'll turn to charcoal as well and be laid across the world of death. and the fear I'd felt in an accident came back to me once again, and then I felt it. An image I hadn't seen until now, the image of death. And I felt a chill run down my spine. Unable to bear it any longer, I turned my back to the corpses. From deep in my throat, hot gastric juice began to churn. I tried to endure it, but what I thought I had turned my back on was in front of me as well. Right there in front of me, a single slender finger stuck up from under the fallen snow. Oh. I vomited and panted heavily, my shoulders heaving, but Yomogi didn't condemn me at all. He walked around the area looking at the corpses without changing. Without what? Without changing his expression. I wasn't able to do anything but stare blankly at his movements. A mist clouded my thoughts, like a thin veil had been placed inside my head. My mind was completely blank. My body continued to shake from the mixture of fear, sadness, nausea, and revulsion. At the end of his searching, Yomogi was able to find a satellite phone and a wireless radio in the wreckage. As I thought, the wireless radio is broken. Yomogi reported each of his findings to confirm that I was still conscious. The satellite phone looks like it still can be used. It looks like the newspaper was right after all, there's nothing I can say. I wasn't in any condition to reply. Ignoring Yomogi's voice, I crouched down unmoving, hugging my knees. Other than that, the search had yielded slightly frozen rations, and a one-eared and slightly burnt teddy bear, as well as a few coats that still looked still usable. Yomogi also seemed to have found a bag that was checked at the luggage counter at the boarding gate. And one more thing. Oh, this is... What he picked up from the snow was a translucent black file. Oh! Our file, the crime thing. Yomogi's expression suddenly altered. With frighteningly sharp eyes, he looked at the contents of the file. It was... yeah, my file. The file with the collected information about the murderous monster Inabushi Kaiko. It had survived unburned. Even if he had found something like that, it probably wouldn't be of use any whatsoever. Yomogi continued to read through it as though he had been sucked into it. Did he have any interest in Inabushi Kaiko as well? Plot twist, it's his daughter. I'm kidding. After a while, Yomogi closed the file. Yomogi, who had just been scavenging with disinterest, now wore an expression of suffering. Unchanging, he quietly put away the file. I guess we should be returning soon. He said, walking over to where I was. We've gathered all we can, that should be enough. Even if we all gathered a few things, it was hardly enough to rejoice over. Hey, what is it? Dig a... what? Dig a grave. I don't understand. Do you mean literally dig a grave, or do you mean question him and dig a grave for yourself as in metaphorically? I'm gonna do dig a grave. Graves. We have to dig graves. Graves for everyone. I mustered my will and stood. Don't bother. It's pointless. What's with that tone? Unstopped, I glared at Yomogi. I saw him biting his lip, his expression unpleasant. Yomogi-san. We have to return alive. That's our responsibility as survivors. So don't bother. I looked around the crash site again. Aren't they even entitled to a little dignity after death? Must they always be spread across the freezing mountain, their pitiful bodies exposed to the ravages of the cold? There's no way. There's no way I could just abandon them. They should at least be able to sleep in peace after suffering such an agonizing death. It felt like this was also a responsibility of ours as survivors. I think I'll dig a grave after all. Yomogi looked astonished. Ignoring him, I searched for a suitable place and started digging a hole with the ice axe. The snow became harder the deeper I dug. Underneath the layer of soft snow, on top was a hard ice bank. At first I thought that compared to soil, snow would be easier to dig up, but that was a naive thought. Yomogi silently helped me. That aside, with only a single ice axe, our efficiency was horrible. Even with two of us digging a hole large enough to fit a human being's remains was no easy task. In the end, digging a single hole that could bury several bodies took well over an hour. I decided to compromise by burying the body that had fallen the closest. The body was completely black, carbonized and stiff, with its hand reaching towards the sky. going to bury you now, so... My mind made up, I placed my hands under the armpits of the corpse. Thinking that I pull it to the hole, I put some strength into it. At that moment, my corpse's arms, like those of a wax doll, broke off and crumbled. No! I panicking and I hurled the black hand I was holding. My spine froze, the frailty of the human body, and my act of throwing away the arm. Even if you try to persuade and control it with reason, the body would still move on reflex. Once again, the acid started to well up from my throat. Gah! I fell where I stood. Tears started to flow. I went on and on about preserving their dignity, only to end up desecrating them myself. I'd done something so cruel to them. I'm a hypocrite. My resolve was weak. For all my arrogance, they were just empty words. I resented my own pitiful self. You understand now, right? We can't do anything when it's just us. Let's go back. Yumogi neither condemned nor encouraged me. He only remained indifferent. It may have only been my imagination, but it felt like he had given up on everything. His lack of criticism of me only knocked me back even further. The wordless corpses must be blaming me instead. I'm sorry, I'm so sorry. I'm guessing that's crying. The tears wouldn't stop. Besides the plane, I was crouching, the wind blew. What was that? The will to live and a decision. The broken pieces of those who were once human began to crumble and scatter, dancing on the wind. Our steps were heavy, but when the cabin came into view, we felt relieved. We still have a place to return to. We have a place to survive in this ruthless world below the freezing point. In front of the cabin, Maizumi and Uni were waiting. They had come outside just to welcome us back in spite of the cold in which they were shivering even now. Uni's waving to us, seeing that Yumogi broke into a smile. We're back! We're back! Yeah. Looking triumphant, he raises a hand high, just like a child. Perhaps by doing that in his own way, he was trying to enjoy the sadness. Yumogi brought out the worn-out teddy bear from inside his backpack. He tosses it to Uni. A souvenir. This is yours, right? You were playing with it on the plane. Catching it and holding it tightly, Uni's face shone. Wow, my TV! Oh, my TV! Yeah, one of the ears came off though, and it's pretty beat up. Uni held the toy tightly. Thank you, hurrah! You seem so happy. Why? Uni runs around in the snow while dancing with the teddy bear. He is in very high spirits. And while still watching Uni, Yumogi whispered in my ear. I think you'd understand this without me saying anything, but never ever about seeing corpses. Yeah, yes. Though I answered him thus, I couldn't recover so easily. The scene I saw at the crash site had scorched my eyes and wouldn't go away. I slipped past the three of them and entered the cabin. Well, for me... From outside the door I could only hear the voices. Here. What's this? A toilet seat cover. Indispensable, especially for a woman, right? She smacked him. Oh. Ugh, that hurts. I said I hate dirty jokes. I was just kidding. Don't get so worked up. Come on, I've ordered some coats. I made sure to select women's coats. Is this coat the same as my own? Well, what a coincidence. You're loyal to your brands, huh? Shut up. Did you get food supplies? Not for you. Why? Because you hit me. Because you're annoying me with stupid jokes. Why? See, it's Mr. Bear. Let me see that. What are you doing? Give it back. I lay down on the top bunk bed. I can't laugh innocently at them. Right. I accidentally remembered I'll try listening to the VR. Maybe it contains a new message. But there weren't any newly recorded messages. I closed my eyes. I didn't want to think about anything. The reality of the death of 27 people. The reality that I survived. Pitch black corpses, carbonized and rigid. Corpses without a face, torsos sunk into their seats, abdomens torn apart, feet hanging from the branches, their tragic shapes stripped of human dignity, strewn around run through my mind, and suddenly their faces change into my own. To get rid of that image, I held my head and shook it. Perhaps I too had become like that. Tomorrow I might end up in the same way. Yomogi behaved as cheerfully as possible. That was his utmost effort, did not give up all hope. He's pretty strong, I'd say, but I tremble at the fear of death. Even more so than we thought, we're standing at the very edge of the abyss of death. I don't want to die, I want to live. I don't know how long this weather will hold out. I really hope help comes before it gets bad again. Quickly, help us.
Hello. I'm TB the teddy bear.
Before I realized that, Uni and the top teddy bear were peeking out from under the top bunk. The round... whoops. The round eyes of the teddy bear were looking at me. It favored me with a quick bow.
Hide. I hide. Isn't it cute?
Uni smiled sweetly. He's adorable. My chest tightened.
Kagome, Kagome. Who's that behind you? Hey, why do you look so sad, Cocoro? Do you feel sick?
I hugged Uni, who was looking at me worriedly tight. It's alright, it's alright. Oh, that's adorable.
Cocoro.
We'll definitely go home together. We have to live. For the 27 who died, we have to survive. The teddy bear that was between Uni and I began to make sounds as it pressed against our stomachs. Suddenly, the crowd was very far away. Oh boy. There we go. Back into Satoru. Her illness. I was standing at the Sphere living area. Hattori was standing right in front of me. I transferred. I sighed. I hate all this. I want a break. I want to be fast asleep in my warm bed at home. Still, I'm not allowed to complain. That I know. I know, but I feel like complaining a little. Somehow I stored up my nearly willpower, in order to check the time and made for Satoru's room. Huh? Surprised, I turned around to face Hattori. Her shoulders were heaving and the breaths she took were ragged. She was tearing at the black hair and violently shaking her head. I've seen something like this once before. Yeah! A scream rises from her. It's exactly the same as when we went berserk before. Hattori was visibly trembling, as though having convulsions. Whoops. From behind her disheveled hair, bloodshot eyes peered out. They're not focusing. Drool dribbled from her mouth. Staggering, Hattori collapsed on the desk where the PC monitor was sitting. The monitor falls to the ground. Ah! With a beastly roar, Hattori raised the chair over her head. Whoa! Panicked, I jumped back. Her in the delicate body, and she found the strength to lift up a chair with one hand. Humans in a state of mental confusion, I heard somewhere, are capable of drawing a strength several times greater than normal. So-called hysterical strength. People, in order to not end up destroying themselves with their own physical strength, usually save their power. But in a state of psychological upset, cut free from the chains of reason, enters a state close to acting on sheer instinct alone. When the limiter called reason is released, one has potential to draw out normal, unthinkable superhuman strength. I bit my lip. At any rate, this can't be good. What's wrong? And Subi came out of the room. Oh, she's just trying to beat you up with the chair. That's normal. Satoru knows how to do this. He gets very kinky. What? Her eyes widened, seeing Hattori's alarming state. Stay away! It's dangerous! After stopping Itsumi, I carefully closed the distance between me and Hattori. And then Hattori abruptly threw the chair. If that hits me, I'm done for. Fend it off with my hands! Promptly fended off the chair with my hands. Dull pain runs through my left hand. Unintentionally ended up using my dominant hand, forgetting that Satori's left arm was injured. Luckily, it looks like the painkillers are kicking in. It wasn't very painful, but I injured Satori's body yet again. Hearing that maddened groan, I returned to my senses. Hattori cried out, grinding her teeth. Bearing her head in her hand, she looked towards the ceiling. No, her eyes were reflecting nothing. I hurried. In this state, there is a risk that Hattori will bite through her tongue. Enough time to waste. I've got to calm her down somehow. Readying myself, I jumped at Hattori. I extended my left arm to pin her down. My body didn't move the way I intended it to. I have almost no feeling in my left arm. Before I realized that Hattori had landed a punch on my face. Almost staggering, I somehow stood firm and put up with it. It doesn't hurt that much. Sacking up, I measured my distance from Hattori. Calm down! And Hattori incoherently swung both her hands. She throws punches in every direction. But unfalteringly, I seize Hattori's wrists. She seems so frail. No, that's not it. Because this is Hattori's body, I'm much stronger. However, no matter how strong I am, holding a girl down and gone berserk isn't easy. Moreover, I only have the use of my right hand. If I don't do this right, I'll not only hurt myself, but Hattori as well. Resolutely, I held onto Hattori's thing. I felt her violent shaking through my own body as well. It's alright. It'll be alright. Even so, Hattori struggled with her own body, randomly striking my shoulders and head. Hattori's body was small. I wonder if I feel that way because I'm in Satoru's body. Hattori was very fragile, almost like she would break if I used any more strength. Because this is Satoru's body, adjusting the level that I use is difficult. Being careful not to hurt her, I held fast to her. I wonder how long this has gone on for. Soon the screams began to die down and her breathing quiets as well. Drained of the strength of my arm, Hattori calmed down. Supporting the unconscious Hattori, I take her to her room. Tsumi and Uni help me as well. Good job, Yukidoh-kun. Oh, you are Fuyukawa-kun. Sam. Yeah. I see, in any case, thank you. And Sami turned to me with a kind smile. It's a bit embarrassing, but this is not the time to be relieved. I've witnessed Hattori's fits twice, despite my limited time in this body. Perhaps her spasms are occurring more frequently. Hattori equals an Ibushi diagnosed with DID. If her mental condition becomes unstable, it wouldn't be strange for her to change personalities. And if an Ibushi wakes up, thinking that a cold chill runs up my spine. Tori-chan, are you unconscious? Blinking in surprise, she looks up at us. Are you alright, Tori-chan? I dared to call her name. I confirmed she was a Tori. She responded to my call with a slight nod. What a relief, she's a Tori. She pulled the sheets tight against herself and began to tremble again. More spasms? More spasms? Still tense. Tori shook her head at us. She got up and furiously rubbed at her upper arms. She opens her mouth as if in an appeal. What? What's wrong? She's trying to talk, but even though she's opening her mouth, nothing comes out. Then she frowned. What if we use this? Uni brought out a notepad. After taking it, Tori begins to write with a shaky hand. Her strokes were weak, maybe there was no strength in her hand. On the note that she handed back, only one word was written. Cold. Be cold, but the heater in the room was doing its job, even though it should be moderately warm. But Tori suddenly seemed to feel cold. Her lips were a ghastly blue, her teeth chattering against each other. I'll turn up the heat. Saying that, Tsumi left the room. Tori clung to me and tightly squeezed my hand. I smiled and squeezed back in return. It's alright. No need to worry. I was telling myself that as myself. Still holding Tori's hand, I sat down on the edge of the bed. I took a deep breath. Say, Tori-chan, when did you come to this facility? Tori silently shook her head. Looks like she doesn't know. If she's the ultimate personality of Inubushi Kaiker, I guess there's no helping it. I've never met the Inubushi Kaiker personality, even though I've already been experiencing the transfer phenomenon for 3 days now. It seems Inubushi is never awakened during the time. Does Inubushi Kaiker really have DID? That file. The file Yamarugi found at the crash site, I need to reread it one more time. What kind of girl is this Suzukage Hattori personality? It might be recorded somewhere. Gotta confirm it. Instinctively, I gave a worn-out sigh. I've been sighing a lot recently. There are many things I don't understand. And on top of those mysteries, even more problems are showing up now, and I end up leaving them all unfinished. What should I do? Tori pulled up my hand. She's writing something down on a notepad again. Looking down at it, the words Red Room had been written there. Red Room? Red Room? What do you mean? Tori continued writing. Though it was only short words and phrases, what I saw was quite frightening. Red light seemed warm and room. Hattori, your handwriting is terrible.
Hattori, your handwriting's terrible.
Don't say things like that.
Why, you mad?
I'm not mad. After saying those curt words, I turned back to her Hattori's note and read it over again. The fragmentary state of the writing is probably due to how much Hattori is shaking. She can't even write straight. It kinda gives you a creepy feeling after reading it, right? You saw a red rune? Was it here in Sphere? Hattori weakly shook her head. Looks like she doesn't know. At least it appears it's not in Sphere. As far as I know, this facility doesn't have any red rooms. Maybe... So, if I'm right about this game going into how DID is just personalities jumping from one point to another, maybe the Kaiko personality is... when Hattori is in this body, Kaiko's personality is in another body in a red room, and there's people trying to keep it there. And when the Kaiko personality is able to jump back, and Hattori is able to jump there, that's when she sees the red room. So it makes me wonder if that's actually what's going on. As far as I know, the facility doesn't have any red rooms. Hattori eagerly wrote a continuation of the note. Cold, dark, locked up, all alone. Red room, enter. There, Hattori hung her head all worn out. The pen fell to the floor. Don't strain yourself. I laid Hattori down on the bed. She docilely complied. The words Hattori wrote, they somehow rang a bell. The red room, is it a scenery from inside Hattori's heart, or could it be something that she felt she saw within her mind? It is so when people with DID switch personalities. Personality that is neglected feels like it was left alone in a dark room. The feeling isn't it like the sense of cold, dark, locked up alone, like Hattori said? And when the switch occurs, the surfacing personality moves from darkness to a bright room. In practice, it's not a bright room, but a usually inexpressible sensation, now somewhere in her mind. The room, in other words, it seems to be part of the symbolic scenery related to the physical world. According to the patients, it's not a bright room, but it's represented by another figurative expression, spotlight. If we consider that to Hattori, that's the red room. It's a typical DID case. But Hattori can't understand that she has DID, so she's confused. I'm sure she has very painful thoughts, even more than I do. I want to somehow ease her pain, but with my strength I can do no more than keep holding her hand like this. It's alright. Just one more time, I remember those same words. They were nothing more than a mere consolation, but I couldn't help saving them. It's alright. Hattori's hand strongly grips my mind back. Then abruptly, the feeling of the hand vanishes in a single instant. And we're back. We didn't get to write the time interval, sadly.